Bills Mafia is back. Are you ready for it? The third annual Buffalo Rumblings IPA beer release party is going down September 16th, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Resurgence Brewing Company located downtown at 55 Chicago Street. I'm going to tell you what, you do not want to miss this event. Come out and hang with Joe, Sarah, and the rest of the Buffalo Rumblings crew for the Megapod. You're going to want to bring your questions and be a part of the live stream. Get involved. It's going to be live. And this year, we're also going to have our friends from Fans of Buffalo joining the party and sponsoring the fun. They're going to be in the house to provide you with all the information you need to make your away game day experience the easiest and the most smooth that you've ever had in your life. I can promise you, they do their job very well. So make sure you make it out Saturday, September 16th, 6 p.m., Resurgence Brewing Company, 55 Chicago Street. Go Bills.
Kick off the show here.
We're agreeing.
So cleaned up. All righty, Bills Mafia. Welcome to the Mafia Cast, part of the Buffalo Rumblings Podcast Network. Boys, we got some real football going on. It is opening weekend. Got some great lineups coming up on Sunday. We had a great game last night. I'm your host, Papa Ron. These are my boys, Casey and Mike. What's going on, guys?
Like you said, thank God football's back. It's been a long summer.
It had a great
It
game
has.
last night. Wow.
Yes, I mean if you're not a Chiefs fan, it's a great game. But you know what?
It
Let's
was
just go
still
ahead
a
and
great
jump
game.
right into that. The Chiefs had 4 drop passes in the second half alone. I saw a stat earlier today. I think Mahomes completed like 41% of his second half passes. I'm just going to get straight to the point. Do the Chiefs win that game if Kelsey plays?
Yes.
Yeah. He's considered what? I mean, basically, definitely a top 3 tight end of all time. Patrick Mahomes is this era's Tom Brady. Andy Reid is a hell of a coach. You know, you put those 3 together, and I mean, we all like the Lions. We all saw what they did last year, winning 8 out of their last 10, and I mean, almost beating the Bills. You know, that Bills loss. Like after that, they went on a huge run. But all due respect, I mean, it's still the Chiefs. It's still the reigning champs at home on opening night, you know, in front of 70,000 people. It's hard to bet against that trio.
Right. And you went with the Chiefs. You were saying they were going to win, and with or without Kelsey.
Yeah, I did. I think Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are that good, but I think it showed that you need help. I mean, even Patrick Mahomes needs help. You know, Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Kadarius Toney, like those guys aren't number ones. You know, they're fringe 2 players. It's hard to just always rely on Patrick Mahomes. We saw they kind of went the Bills route. Patrick, go do everything. Go play hero ball. And the Lions defense was just good enough last night to keep them from doing it. And eating popcorn at halftime, apparently, for the receivers.
Well, we talked about this one of the previous shows with the Chiefs, and if they are basically taking Mahomes' greatness for granted at this point, not getting him any real help outside of Kelsey, Kadarius Toney, I'm not closing the book on him by any means because it's obviously a young season. He's a young player, but they had nobody in the receiving corps step up for them. Scaling had a couple of nice grabs, but they need more than that. And if Kelsey can't go, if at any point in this season, let's just put it this way, as great as a coach as Andy Reid is, as great as Patrick Mahomes is, I would go so far as to say if they lose Kelsey for any extended period of time this season, I don't think the Chiefs win that division. That's how important he is to that team. Even if they don't have Chris Jones, I think Kelsey is more important. And it's interesting that we were saying this a season ago with Tyreek Hill. And Mahomes and Kelsey proved we don't need Hill, we got each other. Now, I think things are a little bit different. If Kelsey,
Mhm.
if they lose him, I think the Chiefs are in trouble.
Yeah. Although I agree with Casey. Like, sorry, Casey, cut you off, but like,
No, go ahead.
you thought the Chiefs had that game regardless, but then I'm thinking, Kelsey starts that game. Tony might not drop them passes. Kelsey makes a catch. He gets things rolling, and these other guys build confidence, and it's the Chiefs game. So
The morale boost. I mean, it is. I mean, it's a real thing. It's momentum. I mean, morale. Like it's a real thing. You see it. Like you get the way you get better, like playing other sports, basketball. You go to a pickup court, you play against better people. You are going to get better. Same thing. It's the same thing with Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. It's what makes a good quarterback a great quarterback. He can make these average to okay players elevated and be very good players just by the play that those Josh and Patrick Mahomes can make themselves.
Yeah, Kelsey definitely feels like the glue right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but are either of you surprised by that though? I mean, I know I still picked the Chiefs last night to win the game going in, but I'm not surprised. I won't say I'm shocked or surprised that they lost.
Yeah.
Because
Kelsey was out. I'm not surprised. I wanted to see the Lions win. I really did. So I can't really say if I'm surprised or not.
But and I mean those pregame picks, I mean America had picked the Chiefs still 60%. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean it wasn't just me. I mean it's Mahomes is insane. He's just that good to where it almost doesn't matter who he has on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Pop Ryan, you're muted.
It was interesting watching that game. Sorry, my dog was barking in the background. UPS guy was here. Chaos for a second. Anyways, watching that game and watching the way that Mahomes was playing, the way he was running around and picking up yards and first downs with his feet, it looked a lot like Josh Allen, right? Like I think even the Chiefs' offensive line, we were tweeting or texting last night about it. They're kind of getting eaten up a little bit by Detroit, so much so that Taylor Lewan had to repeatedly line up in illegal formations and constant false starts. And they finally got him, though.
Before Taylor Lewan comes at you, it was Juwan Taylor. Because Taylor Lewan's a scary dude, and I don't want you to throw dirt around his mouth, around his name.
It's okay. You don't know where I live.
True.
Another thing here too, Red, White, and Bills. He brings up Mahomes looked confused and lost. I was listening to some commentator. I can't remember if it was during the game. I think it was after the fact, but they were talking about not so much that Mahomes looked lost and confused, but more so that they didn't really look like didn't know who to go to, and there just wasn't that go-to guy anymore like they had with Kelsey. And I will say, I'm not surprised they lost. But given the situation that arguably their best player on both sides of the ball not named Mahomes out of the game and they only lost by a point, there's something to be said for that, I think.
Yeah, Roy Collins said it earlier. I mean, the KC defense looked good. I mean, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on it. George Karlaftis. I mean, he played a good game. From what I saw, but he was getting through the back. He was getting into the backfield. Just disrupting, making Goff uneasy. Juan Thornhill, he's still back there. LeJarrette Sneed, they're not top end corners. Individually, you put them together though. It's a decent duo. So I mean, the defense is good. We always knew the Kansas City defense was always good. It was never great or fantastic. They always did what they needed to do to let Patrick Mahomes just go out and win the game for them.
Yeah, I agree. This is another thing too, Red, White, and Bills brings up, and I wanted to talk about this because I tweeted this out yesterday after it happened. I think the Chiefs going for a 4th and 25 with 3 timeouts, 2 minutes left, and the final was the final knife. And I completely agree. That made zero sense to me. That was I'm trying to think, John, as you said,
trying to blank
on
the team at
the Chargers,
point, right?
The Chargers head coach,
Brandon Staley.
That was a total Staley move, in my opinion and not an Andy Reid decision, which was, again, it was weird. And maybe you guys can come up with some legitimate reasons for making that decision. But that close, that deep in your own territory, 4th and 25, you've got all three of your timeouts, a little over 2 minutes. Please make sense of that for me.
There's no
Madden.
sense.
Madden.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
First game of the
hold
year.
on.
Right.
So 4th and 25, they go for it in their own territory. You're planning on Patrick Mahomes, just throwing a bomb, using that cannon of an arm that he has. And if it gets intercepted, it's a punt. It's the exact same thing as a punt. It doesn't really matter. But they're hoping to either get lucky and somehow someone either gets open that far downfield or breaks a tackle and gets the first down, or gets the spot foul pass interference call. So that I understand like where he's coming from. I mean but that's Madden play. That's the only you don't do that in real football. I mean that's just the only thought process I can come up with.
Well, but so it's kind of the same point, but you rewind it earlier in the game and you see the fourth that the Lions went for and got it. The only sense I could make of the Chiefs situation is that they were just trying to one up the Lions on their fourth down play and trying to say, we're dominating this game, making the right decisions, not you. Just trying to one up them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it failed miserably. Like
That's kind of like that last play that Zeke had in the for playing for the Cowboys when he left at center. That was insane.
Yeah. It's funny too. I don't, well, not really funny, but if Coach McDermott makes that call, everybody's calling for his head today. Like,
oh my God.
Media,
if the Bills
fans,
lose like that on Monday, it will be flames on social media.
Yeah.
Everybody will say the drought has restarted.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's already people out there not picking the Bills not to make the playoffs. So
yeah, that's also ESPN. I guess there's a reason why
there's also people saying that they are going to go to the big game too. So
true.
There's a few.
We'll see.
Few.
I just think it's hilarious though that there's so many people that are picking against Buffalo. Not even just not to make it to a Super Bowl or win it, but not to even make the playoffs. Are you kidding me?
Agreed.
We're getting some shade here. People are throwing some serious shade because they want us to fail, and we're a serious factor and threat right now. So throw all the shade you want.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let game time speak.
We've gotten worse after a 13-3 season. Diggs wants out. Kincaid's going to be a bust. Josh Allen's on his way down. I mean, what more do we have to look forward to on Monday? I don't know.
Yeah. And I'm getting tired of seeing all these promos popping up on ESPN with Aaron Rodgers' face on there with the green uniforms. That's getting old. So I can't wait till that game on Monday. So that's done and over with. Jessica here. Casey proved it earlier in the game. You took it off there. Similar distance. I think just before halftime for the go-ahead touchdown. Yeah, I don't remember what the down and distance was, but they had a couple of long ones there at the end of the first half that set up that late touchdown in the second half.
But I still don't think that warrants going for it on 4th and 25, under 2 minutes in your own territory in the fourth quarter. That I don't know what the thought. The only thing I can think, like I said, the only thing I can think of is they were just going for the long pass, hoping it either gets intercepted or pass interference. Like to me that screams I have no other outcome.
To me that screams I have no faith in my defense can stop Detroit.
Well, maybe he didn't.
Well,
I mean, sometimes
the
game
play calls
for that. Yeah.
After the pump fake, the Chiefs seriously started getting worried about that. And had to come up with something.
Yeah,
my wife just
like the
texted
Chiefs defense
me.
Was playing poorly.
Yeah,
true. I just want you guys to know my wife texted me and wanted me to make sure to tell you that she picked the Lions last night.
She picked the Lions?
Yeah. She's 1-0.
Like Casey.
Damn it.
It's funny.
Aaron here. Why do they pump up Mahomes over easy scramble out of the pocket? Yeah.
because
I guess we do. I'm just resigned to the fact that Mahomes is going to continue to get the love from
He's the
you know,
golden boy, right?
yeah,
But
and that's
why
just
wouldn't? But why wouldn't he? I mean, as Bills fans, I mean, we can. And the three of us have all come out and said it's Mahomes 1, Josh Allen 2.
Yeah.
I
So
haven't
I mean,
said that.
But after
yeah,
last night, it really makes you think. If
I
Josh
have said
Allen has a Travis
repeatedly.
Kelsey, you know,
Yeah, I've said repeatedly
player
that
that's gonna make or break the game, so to speak. So
as far as just being the most gifted, physically gifted quarterback, there is nobody better than Allen. He can do what he can do. People can't. There's no other quarterback in the league can do it. Yes, Mahomes has got a great arm. He can throw from every different angle. That part of it, he's got him. But the running around, the scrambling, and things like that, the that's to me what separates Allen.
yeah.
Now I know Allen needs to
Mahomes
win
ain't
the
got a
big
stiff
game.
arm truck
I get
guy
all
for
that,
sure.
but
the
physically
only
speaking, there's nobody better.
Yeah.
physically, yes. The only thing I think Mahomes has on Allen might be decision making at certain times, at certain moments, and we all see it. Every single person's like, but once again, we're like, Josh, what are you doing? We all clench, and it's either a run and he hurdles, or like it's the tightest of windows, and somehow he gets it in. But it's like, oh my god! Now those are the successful ones, but then we look at some of the other times when it's like, Josh, what are you doing? Oh my god, why did you do that? It's
Yeah.
like, it's one of those things. I guess I don't know if it's because I'm not truly like a fan of the Chiefs and I don't watch them like that. I mean, yeah, we all watch them when they're on national television, but like I don't get that feeling as often with Mahomes. I guess I feel
love
like
this
it's
comment.
I feel like it's more I feel like it's more a little calm, cool, and collected more often than it is with Josh. Not saying Josh isn't, but it just seems like Mahomes stays more level and Josh is a little bit higher and lower peak.
Yeah.
And to a point, I understand that, and I can agree with that. I do want to bring this point up, though. Mahomes' decisions are easy because he always has a wide open Kelsey no matter
Yes.
what. That's a good
Yes.
point.
Yes.
He
Yes.
knows Kelsey's going to be where he's supposed to be, and most of the time he's going to be open. Watching that game, there was a couple of questionable decisions on Mahomes' part where he threw to, and I even text you guys like Allen would have been ripped apart if he'd have thrown into that triple coverage that
Mhm.
Mahomes did, and nobody said a word about it when Mahomes did it.
Right.
Like
He's the golden
that's the
boy.
part. Yeah, that's the part of the whole comparisons that frustrates me is when Mahomes does it, man, it's okay. It's Patrick Mahomes. He's the golden
Yeah.
child. When Allen does, like, oh yeah, see, I told you he's a bust.
Yeah.
It's annoying, but
Even like Collinsworth, I mentioned Collinsworth last night being like, "Oh yeah, see Mahomes. It doesn't matter when you have Patrick Mahomes under pressure." But then in the next sentence, he was like, or the next play, it was like, "Yeah, see Patrick Mahomes make a bad throw because he was rushed."
yeah, and I do think that as you mentioned earlier, Mahomes was put into a position where he had to play hero ball, and if, like I said, if you look at that, it looked very similar to what we saw from Allen
Yes.
last year with the hero ball,
Exactly.
forcing passes, running around. So, anyways, Kelsey he's got 10 days to rest up. He'll probably be back next week.
Yeah.
If not, I don't think misses more than a couple of games. But if something were to happen in long term, because he's not getting any younger either. I think he's 33, 34. He's like the second oldest tight end in the game. Yeah.
Yep.
Is he now? Wow.
Behind
So,
Mercedes
yeah.
Lewis, who is like Stone Age. He doesn't
I
even
heard that
count.
name in a
He's
while.
basically a guard at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time I do any kind of fantasy football draft and I'm scrolling through the tight ends and his name pops up, I was like, he's still around?
Dude, right? Like you're just like, oh my God. I remember watching him
Yeah.
playing Jacksonville.
All right, let's move forward and talk about some of the position battles that we've been kind of watching over the summer. I would say probably at least 2 out of the 3 we knew were going to happen, or well, I won't say we knew, but
Hope.
kind of hoping / predicted, and that being Torrance. And I don't know about you guys. I've been rooting for Benford since day one last season when he was first drafted, and all the hype started coming out of the camp reports about him playing well. And I'm a sucker for underdog guys. Torrance, we all three, I think, from the moment he was drafted, kind of just assumed he was going to get that position. But with Bernard getting the call at middle linebacker after having not played any preseason games, what do you guys think about that? I'll start with you, Casey.
I just think it shows like the trust that he has from the other players on defense, and that says a lot from having veteran guys like Poyer and Hyde and Vaughn and Tre'Davious White. Matt Milano. These guys are all pros and relying on you to get them in the right spot. So he impressed that much in training camp before the preseason even officially started that they were like, yeah, like no matter what. I mean, we can also say that Dodson played himself out of that battle. I think they also saw Dodson in preseason. They were like, it can't get worse. There's no way Bernard is going to be worse than this, and I'm happy for it now. I didn't understand the pick back then last year because like I said multiple times, I thought last year was our last year with Poyer and they were going to keep Edmonds. And I guess it was just an ignorant thing, just not thinking about the cap space and just being like, hey, Bean will figure out a way, but sometimes you just can't always figure out a way, So I'm happy Bernard is going to get this spot. I mean, we know what Dodson can be. We've seen it multiple times for the last couple of years when he's had a spot start. It's time for a new taste. I'd rather deal with growing pains than just nagging pains.
And we've tried, and now it's his turn. It's his turn to shine and show what he's got. So, I want to just shout out to John real quick. He just commented. John's actually having John McNeil from Game On Sports. He's actually having Terrell Bernard on Tuesday at his store signing some autographs. So that's super cool. So that's Tuesday,
out in Hamburg,
September 19th. Yeah, 7 to 8 p.m. in Hamburg. That's Game On Sports. So super cool.
Yeah, so go
super
out there
cool
and
that he's
check that out.
Yeah, starting and then he's gonna mingle with some fans a little bit, sign some autographs too.
Yeah. I think you mentioned the draft pick of Bernard last season, 2022. And for me, it wasn't so much who they picked as much as where. And I think that was probably the biggest issue that fans had with that draft was they felt like they could have waited maybe a round or two later to grab him. But I'll say this, like, I don't feel like GMs or coaches make draft picks and jump up and grab guys early just because they feel like it. I really believe that there's a reason for them doing that, and it's probably related to they've heard or are aware that there's a chance another team might be grabbing them. So to prevent that from happening, they take them early. Case in point with like the Texans, they drafted Juice Scruggs in the second round. That guy was projected as like a fifth, sixth round guy, and he was immediately projected as their starter. Unfortunately for them, he's on the IR right now. But
no way.
Sometimes GMs, coaches, they have to jump up a little bit to get the guy that they want, and I think that's what happened last year with the Terrell Bernard pick. Man, what does it say about Dodson though? Like you get the entire preseason basically to yourself because Spector was removed from the competition before the games even started. Bernard gets. Sorry, Casey.
Hey, he still made the team. So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, he's still a young player, and he is athletically gifted. He has the traits to play the position, so you never know. And I wrote about this a few days, well, I guess like a week or so ago. The fact that the team had not announced who the starting middle linebacker was, that told me that it wasn't going to be Dotson. I really think they wanted to wait and see if Bernard could practice at full strength and if he was good to go. And once they realized he was, that's when they announced it. So I think Dotson's days are numbered with this team. Even so much, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not even on the roster by the end of the season. And that sucks because I like the guy. But
Roy just made a great comment. If Dodson was guaranteed $2 million, maybe he's not here. I mean, if that's I mean, they'll pay. I mean, we see what they pay all these guys to play special teams, and that's basically what he's going to do, all this year. But if they have Dorian, if they truly try to work Dorian in at that middle linebacker spot next year, or Spector can step up and just take over Dodson's spot and be the middle linebacker, like the second middle linebacker, then I could definitely see it. I think he's just never gotten to the point that they hoped he would. I understand he was an undrafted free agent, but I mean, like that for the amount of time and effort that they've put into him, it seems like the return on investment just isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and let's not forget too, they still got Christian Kirksey too on the practice squad. So
What do
if Bernard comes out and lays a stinker on Monday, then what? We're looking at possibly Kirksey in week 2.
But if Bernard just breaks out, then what?
Yeah,
Then we're golden.
We're looking decent.
I don't think Kirksey is there for a break in case of emergency. I think they're going to have Bernard on a short leash. And
I agree.
I think they also brought Kirksey in because they don't believe in Dodson anymore. And even going back to college, Bernard has had injury issues. We saw it this preseason. So I think Kirksey is middle linebacker 2, set in solid stone. After this week, though, I think they're going to still give him this week to get acclimated to the team. And then starting week 2, I think they're going to just make him the middle linebacker 2, and Bernard's snaps will be counted for sure. He'll be watched like a hawk.
Yeah. I want to jump back up here to what Aaron said. Were the Bills expecting to draft Jack Campbell, and that's why they didn't address the middle linebacker in free agency? I don't know. From some of the things that I have seen and heard as far as conversations and videos that the Bills team puts out, it sounded like that Bean and McDermott were targeting Kincaid from the onset. So I don't think there was ever any potential of Campbell getting drafted to Buffalo. And speaking of Campbell, did you guys see him much last night?
He was in on quite a few plays, I feel like. I saw his name pop up quite a few times, and I'm like, man, I mean, I know it's a guy that you were looking at, Ronnie, that you wanted in the draft, and I wouldn't have been opposed to it after, kind of seeing his performance last night.
Yeah, I don't feel like he did anything to not warrant being drafted. Again, did they take him in the teens, I think?
Because they took Jahmyr Gibbs 12 and Jack Campbell 14th, 15th, something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty high, way higher than anybody was projecting him to do. But I don't think he was on Buffalo's radar at any point. But I just think that as far as the middle linebacker position goes, I think Buffalo and the staff, they were comfortable, and I'll say were comfortable with the 3 guys that they had. The fact that they signed Kirksey, though, tells me that they are no longer comfortable in that decision, and they went out and got Kirksey. So we'll see what happens on Thursdays, or why do I keep saying Thursday? Monday night, as far as that goes. But let's go ahead.
Looking for revenge from last year, I think.
Yeah. Well, and let's just get into this.
Did you guys notice that we're wearing the exact same jerseys that we wore last year at the Jets game? We wore all blue last year when we lost, and they were wearing white on green. That's exactly what it is again this year. So maybe Mike's right. Maybe it is. They're looking for revenge.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think the whole team has a chip on their shoulder, honestly, after what happened last season, and even throughout this offseason. Like we were talking about at the beginning of the show, all the shade that's been kind of thrown in their direction. I think this is a team that kind of revels in that. So, and I keep hearing a lot of the players commenting on Allen being different. And the way he's carrying himself this year.
Toxic chicks, man. They'll mess your life up, bro.
I mean, going through the process, being in the league for, more than a few years now, you kind of settling in and getting in your ways here. And he knows what he's got to do.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the last person I'm worried about. Roy brings up a good point. Maybe with the offensive upgrades, they were willing to take a chance with what they had a middle linebacker. And I agree. I think they recognize the fact that, for a long, long time, the old adage was defense wins championships. I don't think that's the case anymore. And I'm one of those guys that, grew up watching this game in the 80s and 90s when defense did win championships. So to me, that meant something. I've come around after seeing what the Chiefs have done to, top-ranked defenses. I just don't think it really matters anymore. So I think Buffalo's like, you know what? We have a pretty solid defense as is. Let's focus and make our offense a little bit better. Let's give Allen some more weapons other than just Diggs. So So I agree as far as that goes. With this game on Monday, I'll start with you, Mike, on this. What do you think is the keys to this game? Like, what do the Bills have to do to come out of there with a victory on Monday night?
I think it is the defense, because the Jets have made these offensive moves this offseason. So, maybe, yeah, they're looking pretty good. If everything's working in unison, um, their offense is definitely something to be worried about. I think we can go toe to toe with them scoring wise, but we need to stop these guys. We need to step up. We need to see, hopefully we see Bernard do his thing. In every, I mean, we don't have Kyrie Elam, so we're still kind of uncertain, I guess, so to speak, at who's the permanent starter at these key positions. But it's going to be our defense that needs to shut their offense down. We can't let Rodgers pick us apart.
I thought I thought you were going to say shut them up.
Yeah, that too.
Me too.
That too.
I mean, they have
So,
been talking. At least the media's
That's
been
it.
talking for them.
I got to see the defense get after this team, because I know the offense can do it, but they could probably go toe to toe with us. Just like we saw with the Chiefs last year in the playoffs. We got to shut them down. We just got to stop them. So I'm looking for that.
What do you think,
defense.
Casey?
So I go playing off what Mike said. I think CB2. I think that is Benford's job to lose. I think that is like they're going to throw him in. They're going to let him go, and until he starts to crap the bed, bad. I think they're just going to let it happen. They're going to let it run its course, and then I would assume Dane Jackson would come in, and they would do the same thing. Just let it run its course until they can't anymore. Then they would go back to the rotation. They'd give it to Elam. Just like a more extended shuffle, but they're not going to do it purposefully. They're going to let it happen naturally. Which, I mean, that's what we would rather have, though, than what they were doing last year and every other possession buoying these corners. But the key to this game to me is going to be protecting Josh Allen. I mean, that's going to be just about the key to every game this year. If you can keep if you can keep Josh's jersey clean, the Bills are going to beat anybody. If he doesn't have to scramble for his life and play the hero ball that we saw Patrick Mahomes play last night, just hit those under routes to Diggs, those 11-yard curls, hit Gabe on that over route. Just like let it just happen. Let it come natural. Do what you do best. And it all starts with the O-line.
Sounded like you just said something about underoos a while ago, but I'm going to leave that alone.
That was last week.
That was last week.
Yeah.
No, that was the Underwear Olympics last week.
Yes, the Underwear Olympics.
We'll leave that alone.
Here we go again with that. I think a couple of people have brought this up now in the comments. The O-line has to keep the numbers of rushers off of Josh, like you were just saying. And then also, biggest concerns the right side of our offensive line. And take advantage of a weak Jets O-line. The Jets have bigger issues than even Buffalo does on the offensive line. And I'm not saying Buffalo has issues just yet. I'm still, I guess, cautiously optimistic that the line will come together and Spencer Brown will be okay. We'll have to wait and see how all that goes. But the Jets have one of the better defensive fronts in football. So to expect Buffalo to keep Josh completely clean, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Josh is going to have to make some plays on the run. I just hope that it's not all game long. I hope he's not constantly getting hit. If they can just give him just enough time, throughout majority of the game, then yeah, I think he's going to find the open guys. I think we've got a ton of weapons now. I think Kincaid could have a really good game here, and that's because of the rush, right? You need a guy like a Kelsey when the rush gets in your face that you can trust is going to be there and create separation. And I think Kincaid is that guy. We even saw it last night with Detroit and their rookie tight end, Sam Laporta. He made some plays. He was wide open a few times, and Goff found him when he was scrambling around. So that's kind of what I'm looking for from Kincaid.
My streaming fantasy tight end of the week because the one time I get to draft Travis Kelce, the one time.
Hey, I saw you picked up Laporta too, and I have him in another league as like one of my last 1 or 2 picks. But yeah, good to see him making plays there. But Kincaid, he's our guy, so let's hope he's better than him, better off than him.
Hey, he was taken in the first, and Laporta was in the third.
John, what's up, man?
Yeah, and we don't want to see. You were kind of getting into it. We don't want to see Josh go through what Mahomes went through last night.
Yeah.
So
this
with
right
protection
here,
and not having to force it.
This little battle between Quentin Williams and Osiris Torrance, I wouldn't say it's going to get ugly. I think it's going to be fun to watch.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I know Torrance is a rookie, and he's probably going to give up. Well, I don't want to say he'll give up anything, but he's going to have his hands full, no doubt, right?
I won't be surprised if he gives up a sack, but if he holds his own and he gives up a sack, but Quentin doesn't blow through the line every time and blow up the runs and blow up the play action, and that's a win.
Yeah.
I mean, O-line isn't going to be perfect, but if he can win 75% of the battles, and hell yeah, that's a huge win for Osiris.
And if you don't, good experience anyway, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this matchup, or not necessarily matchup, but with Torrance, I think that should be a prop. Does he give up a sack or no? Because it'd be the first sack he's given up in years. He didn't allow a single sack in college. And if I remember correctly, he didn't give up a sack in high school either. He didn't give up one in the preseason.
Pie bet?
What?
Pie bet?
Wait, do we need like a whipped cream endorsement for pies or something?
We should get a whipped cream endorsement. Oh my God, Mike!
That'll
look
be our
at that
thing.
guy now.
They're doing pies every week.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
It's a fun one.
And I'm not.
Wait, Chris.
Ready whip.
If you can, send in this picture. Or DM me on Twitter. Take a screenshot and send me this.
Yeah. They're like, is the Mafia cast hitting with their picks or not?
What is? Oh wait, I'm an idiot.
Or is it the BR logo?
I overthought this big time.
Okay,
I think he was just kidding. I think he was just teasing us.
Let's get back to the Torrance. The knock on Torrance's foot speed. He has the power though. I don't know that matchup. It's gonna be fun to watch, and that's gonna be to me that's the biggest key is can our offensive line protect Josh Allen like you were just saying? Can they keep the Jets defensive front from taking over this game? I'm fine if they make some plays here and there because you'd be silly not to think that they're not going to because they're just that good. But can they, for the most part, keep Josh Allen upright and keep him from having to do what Mahomes was forced to do yesterday? The difference being, I think even if Allen does have to run around, he's got some guys he can count on, whereas Mahomes last night did not. So I think that could be a big one. The other key for me, it's the corners. Is Trey White back? Is he fully mentally healthy? Like physically, I have no doubt. He's looked good through OTAs, training camp, and the preseason game. He's looked like his old self. And from all the reports that I've seen, he's back out there dancing and smiling, and his whole demeanor is different than what it was last year. And then with Benford, because Garrett Wilson's a good wide receiver. Like he could become one of the top receivers in this, not just this division, but the conference and league as a whole. And now he's got Aaron Rodgers thrown to him. That's going to be a key there is if they can kind of control that matchup a little bit and kind of keep him from making some huge plays. But it's going to be a great game. Do we want to do score predictions?
We always do.
Let's do it. We need TikToks.
Hey, what a better way than on the fly. Let's go.
There you go. Casey,
all right, Mike,
go first.
Oh, come on.
I get to think for a minute. Now I'll be wrong.
I'm going to go 31-27 Buffalo.
Whew. That's a high over-under. I'm going to take the under on that one. What do you got, Casey?
Mike.
I just gave it to you.
Or, sorry, Mike.
I'm going to say 23-27 Bills. How you like that?
23.
That's still
nice.
23-27. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Feeling
I would still take the under on that. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. And I'm going to go 21-17 Bills. Josh Allen
Really?
does what Patrick Mahomes could not do last night, and that's drive the field for a fourth quarter touchdown to take the lead. Let's look at some of these other ones. There you go. At the moment, it's 20-17 in overtime. Not sure which way. You got to pick one
Come
side or
on,
the
you
other.
big chicken.
Not
Come
sure
on.
which way.
You're on a Bills
Spin says
podcast.
34-17.
Pick the Bills. Come on.
Come on. It's the first game of the year. You
Hey,
can't pick against us.
I picked against the Bills week 1 last year, and I think I won. So don't do that around here.
What?
We smoked
Week
the Rams
one last
week
year?
Or not week 1. Or I'm thinking week 1. We're in
You're
week 1,
against the
but
Vikings, you big dummy.
yeah, I don't know. Whatever
I believe
game I picked the
if
Bills
I-
to lose, and I was right. I hate
It
myself
was
for
it was the
It was.
Vikings game.
Yeah. Stop. Was he 53-0?
Spin.
Yeah,
I'm
that'd
all
be
for
cool.
it, man.
Yeah, no kidding. Roy Collins, Bills 23-17. And then all right, there he goes. It's the Bills. There you go. All right.
There you go. All right. Thank you.
Go Bills.
Yeah, I can't wait. I do. So I have to work on Monday, and so I'm going to be
Ooh.
racing back when I get off work to make it. I might need to get myself a motorcycle so I can go down the middle lanes there and get home on time. But
Well,
looking
I'm
forward to a game.
personally I'm dealing with that Spectrum BS going on right now. So I
Oh,
have
yes.
from now until Monday night to figure out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to watch the game. Especially with one of our followers, Derek Warren, coming over that night.
I know we're not KC fans here, but Casey, you're the example from the commercial, the DirecTV commercial.
Yeah.
What do you call the guy in face paint that can't get the game? That's you, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's funny. That is, yeah, I can see that. I mean, that's going to be him with the pink hair before too long.
I'm
Call the
winning
guy
that
with pink
bet.
hair, the guy with
I'm
pink hair that
winning
can't
that.
get the game.
I'm winning that bet. I'm winning that bet.
On the reverse
so,
of
'cause
this,
I wanna
Spence
see
has imagined the
Spence.
fallout. 53-0, the Jets fan base.
Oh.
We need to call in all the therapists in the country and send them to New Jersey. Yeah. Imagine the fallout if Buffalo loses this game, though.
Nationally,
Even if it's
yes.
by-
Locally, it won't be that bad.
It's a game
We
we
don't
can
think
afford to
so?
lose.
I don't think so, because the Jets have gotten better. They have improved. I mean, everybody can admit. I mean, you get a Hall of Fame quarterback, you get an All-Pro running back in Dalvin Cook to pair with last year's All AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. To go with the Defensive Rookie of the Year and an amazing defensive line and a top 5 defensive backfield. And so
Why
I
the
don't
influence?
because they're not. But anyway, but if the Bills lose in a close game, I won't be shocked. I won't be surprised. If they lose and get smacked, that's when Bills Mafia will be exploding.
Yeah.
But if they lose, if it's ugly, it won't be good. But if it's if it's close, back and forth, and we lose on a walk-off field goal, Bills Mafia be like, all right, like when the Dolphins beat us last year, all right, you gotta respect, watch the chirping, but you gotta respect a little bit.
You beat us now, we crush you later.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So don't think about it.
Two more times later, just to make it seal the deal.
And just to make a point here, because Spin's kind of giving me some crap. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, and I'm certainly not hoping for anything like that. I just know how overreactive Bills fans can be.
Yes,
They're going to freak out, and yes, the Jets fan base is going. I don't even know if I'll be on social media if that were to happen, because oh my goodness, it would be a week-long misery. But let's move on from that. I don't know what's
it's
going on.
It's just me and the dogs home, and the dogs are have free roam of the house. And I just heard a big thud, so I'm very nervous to go out.
But no yelling or screaming, so
that's because I'm home alone, dummy.
Oh,
if there was yelling and screaming, I'd be more scared.
If anything happens, at least you're live.
True, I can go out my window.
There you go. Yeah, no, just stay on there so we
Get
can
evidence.
see it. And if somebody jumps in there,
I want to Brock.
we got it on camera. All right. Let's go ahead and move forward here. And Mike, I hope you're ready for this.
Nope.
Let me pull it back up here. Here we go. AFC division champs and wild card predictions.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Well, let's start with you.
Go
for it,
ahead, Mike.
You're talking just 1, 2, 3, 4.
Just
Yeah,
you
who are
think's
your
gonna win
division
the
champs
division.
in any particular order, doesn't matter. And then who are your 3 wild cards?
Well, I can't not pick the Bills.
Duh.
And I'm putting the Jets above the Dolphins because they've made more moves this offseason, I feel like. And that's basically that for me.
So are you putting them in the what? No, dummy. We're asking who wins the 4 divisions in the AFC, and then who's going to be the 3 wild cards for the playoffs.
I don't know. You better take this first. I haven't thought enough about it.
Well, lucky
All
for
right,
you,
so-
Mike, I made a DraftKings parlay about a month ago.
You did.
All right, what
I
do you
got
got, Casey?
I got the Jets, the Bengals, the Jags, and the Chiefs. 4 pretty standard picks, you know. But I was kind of scared because it's also DraftKings and it was free money. So I made a second bet and I switched the Bengals and I switched out the Bengals and Ravens and the Ravens winning the division. I could see it. I mean, I could definitely see that happen. The Ravens still have a good
Let's
gotten better
let's
on
back up.
offense.
let's
Okay.
back up. We need to back up because I could have swore you just said the Jets were winning the division.
Did I? Oh no, I'm sorry, Bills.
Okay.
You meant wild card.
No. Yeah. No, I don't even have the Jets in the wild card.
I put that
Really?
in your
Okay,
head.
so like, yeah, I think
I
Roy
was
heard what
thinking
heard.
AFC East. You're talking the whole AFC right now.
The whole
Yes.
AFC, yes,
I
all
jumped the
4
gun a little.
divisions.
Yeah.
Mike, read words. AFC division champs.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right, so once again, Casey, say you've got Buffalo, obviously.
I've got Buffalo, Kansas City, Jacksonville, and Cincy. And then my 3 wild cards, I have Miami, the Chargers, and the Ravens.
All right.
Okay.
So I'll make my picks now because I got to have
All
the
right.
teams in front of me because I can't keep them straight sometimes, the divisions. So I'm going to say Bills, Ravens, Jags, Chargers.
Knew it was coming. I knew it was coming after last night.
Why not?
Not picking the
I knew it.
Chiefs. All right.
Why not?
English is
Chargers.
hard.
Yes,
The
Roy.
Englishes are hard.
Roy, if you saw my report cards, you would know. Yes, English is
True.
difficult.
True.
But when I want to
we're
do
working
it,
on it.
I do. So
All right, who you got for your wild cards then? Mike?
Mike,
ah.
Bueller.
So
Bueller.
how about the Chiefs get the wild card?
Okay,
Okay.
that's one. You got 2 more.
Texans
We need-
and Steelers. I'm saying Steelers.
Texas.
Why not?
Texas.
Steelers. Who cares about the Steelers? The Texans.
Going bold, man. I'm going bold.
He's going bold. He's taking the Texans to make the wild
Okay,
card.
man. You got? I know, Papa. I don't know if you watch South Park, but Mike is one of the dudes when they switch over the KFC over to the other one, over to the news store, and all the guys are bouncing down the road. That's Mike right now.
Hey, I don't want my picks to be the same as yours. So,
Well,
hey,
they're
let's see
definitely
what
not going
happens.
to be.
They're
Anything
definitely
can
not.
happen.
Definitely not going to be. It's funny you
Alright,
say the
wow.
Texans though, because I did outline a path for them, but it is definitely not the wild card.
There might be
They would
some
have to get division champ.
fantasy influence involved too. So,
All right. First of all, Spence got a prediction here: Browns, Jaguars, Chiefs, Bills, Chargers, Bengals, and Jets. I'm not sure which one of those division. I'm going to assume the first 4 are the division champs, followed by the wild cards. And my apologies, I am a little under the weather, so I'm starting to get a little more stuffier than I was when we started this show. But and then Spin also, I can't even lie, that was one of the worst takes I've heard in a long time. Giving national media a run for their money. Love it.
Hey.
Yes.
we got to give it a shot,
Texans.
man. So, that's what
All
we're
right.
here for.
So for me, division champs: Buffalo, Baltimore, Jacksonville, Kansas City, and then wild cards being Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and the Chargers. I left Miami out of that, and I know a lot of obviously the Miami fans aren't going to be pleased with that. They could get in there though. I'm not saying that they're going to suck this year by any means, but the AFC is just so loaded, like top to bottom. You mentioned the Texans. Even the Texans, because of the division they're in with Indianapolis and Tennessee, I'm not sold on Tennessee. I think Tannehill is average at best. Uh, Nobody's had more carries than Derrick Henry over the last few years. So the wear on those tires, his age, I believe, is 29. So he's past that running back wall that they talk about all the time. And then you've got Jacksonville, who, yes, Jacksonville looked really good down the stretch. They looked good in the playoffs, but is that going to be who we see this year? We heard it with the Bills a few years ago when they kind of broke out. Everybody was like, okay, that was cool. Let's see you do it again. And that's where I'm at with Jacksonville. Let's see you do it again. So yeah, I mean, as far as that division, because it is probably the worst division in football.
So you're
right?
agreeing with me?
Anybody? No, I'm not.
Oh.
I'm just saying there's a
Yeah.
path, but it's not the wild card.
No, the worst division in football is the NFC South.
Okay, but they're the worst of the AFC.
They're
AFC,
definitely
I'd give the AFC, but I just think the NFC South is garbage.
So here's another one. Oh, put it back up there. Bengals, Bills, Jags, Chiefs, wild cards, Jets, and Ravens. He is missing one. And there it is. Adds the
Add
Chargers.
the Chargers.
So
Chargers are a hot. So Pop Ron apologized for not putting Miami in there. None of us put the Jets in there. So
I
if
did.
none of us put you did? Oh, I'm sorry. I must have missed it.
Yeah, I put them in as a wild card.
So you're the only one, but so between me
Yeah.
and Mike and just scrolling quick, I haven't seen anybody commenting putting the Jets in there. If
So is there
that's
a little
the case,
bias?
no, but why should we be so worried week one? If we're that confident that we're going to win the division, then we shouldn't be all that worried that we're going to win Monday, right? Or are we just a bunch of chickens?
Bernard's been the guy for a while. We're gonna crush him. Let's go.
Yeah, Mike.
So here's where, backing up on my picks, I actually had too many wild cards now that I'm looking at it. So I'm going to remove the Chargers from mine and stick with the Jets, Bengals, and Pittsburgh. Those are the three wild cards. I do think that the Jets give Buffalo a run for the division. I do. They are a super talented team. They were a top 5 defense. You've got had a rookie in Garrett Wilson last season. I believe he had over 1,100 yards. I think 4 touchdowns. I don't remember the receptions, but he did that with like 4 different starting quarterbacks throughout the season. So now you've got Aaron Rodgers in there. I think the only thing that could derail the Jets season is their offensive line. Similarly, that's the biggest concern with Buffalo. But I do think Buffalo has a better offensive line. In fact, I think if you rank the offensive lines in the AFC East, I think Buffalo sits at number 2. I do believe New England probably has the best O-line, followed by the Dolphins and then the Jets. You can even swap the Jets with the Dolphins. Like, both of them have some issues on the offensive line, even more so than Buffalo.
But the Dolphins' issues are more so health right now rather than the players that they would be potential starters. I think the overall potential starters, I mean, I like the Dolphins' offensive line when fully healthy. I would put the Jets, I mean, the Bills and the Dolphins are pretty close in my opinion because it can go either way so quickly. But if you're just looking names, I mean, you'd have to give the Jets higher. I mean, the Dolphins. Oh my God, it's Friday.
Is it? Yeah.
So, John here, this is, I think, why a lot of people are kind of not on the train with the Dolphins because of Tua. We saw, so there's a couple of things I want to point out with the Dolphins really quick. One, yes, Tua, if he gets another concussion, his career could be done, right? That's a real possibility, and I'm not trying to downplay anything whatsoever. He even said himself he did contemplate retirement this offseason because of those concussions. If it happens again, he's obviously going to have to, consider that a possibility. But the other part of this too is whether, even if Tua plays, if you think back to the 2 games prior to when they played Buffalo the second time, and I can't remember who the 2 teams were, but they shut the Dolphins offense down. And there was a lot of talk about, did they just find the blueprint for shutting down the Dolphins offense? And then they faced Buffalo, but Buffalo didn't follow that blueprint. True to Leslie Frazier fashion, they stuck with their defense like they've always done. They didn't try to game plan really specific to what other teams had previously done. And then Tua got hurt. And then he was out for the rest of the season. So we didn't really see how that offense would have looked going forward with Tua. if that so-called blueprint was out there. So those two things to me are why the Dolphins are not up there. I do think that they can be stopped. So we'll see. I'm more so on the Jets side than I am with the Dolphins, but I hope they both suck, honestly, and neither one of them make the playoffs. Ideally,
True Bills fan right here, everyone.
We're going
That's right,
6-0
that's
the division. Don't even worry about it.
So
So,
one of the
Pop
things from
Ron,
Dolphins.
go ahead.
Go ahead. All right, I was going to say, so Span Dolphins did nothing this offseason to address the O-line. And yeah, that's true. They brought in Ramsey, who was out for the foreseeable future. That's really the only big addition I think that they made.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like I was saying, the
Yeah.
Jets made the moves, and I think they're the force to be reckoned with. We're not worried about the Dolphins, definitely not like we were last year.
The Dolphins' moves were bringing in Vic Fangio and Jalen Ramsey, because just as how the Bills stayed pat on defense, it more so seemed this offseason and attacked the offensive side of the ball. It seemed like Miami was like, okay, we have a good offense. Now let's improve this defense. So I think that the Bills and Miami are just at two different, at the same, doing the same thing, just opposite each other. They're at they have two different strengths.
Yeah. Mike, were you going to say something?
I don't know.
So, Papa Ron,
yeah,
you probably don't know this, but today is a special day. A year ago today, you asked me to become your full-time co-host on our original podcast, and it popped up today, and I just thought it was one of the I just thought it was really cool that we've we've never even met, and we've done this show 52 weeks, straight. There's been a Mafia cast for 52 weeks. Eventually, we spun off, did our own thing because Stadium Rant sucks, and I'll go out and say it.
Oh man!
And then
shout out to Stadium Rant.
Shout out to Stadium Rant.
Oh man!
And then we brought in Mike, and Mike. I mean, you were going to be production, and then all of a sudden we were like, hey, you want to come on? You want to come on? You want to come on? And then you stuck around. You were like a tick. We couldn't get rid of you.
Can't get away, man. I just love it.
But I mean, this has been probably the funnest year of my life, and it's definitely because of this podcast. I mean, it's a lot of fun. So this is awesome. Thanks,
Right.
Papa Ron.
It has been
A couple years ago,
well.
I would have
And
fallen asleep
it's
at
been great.
halftime, but I almost made it through the whole fourth quarter last night.
He says almost.
I joke.
I'm teary-eyed. It's your 1-year anniversary. Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. And
Shout out to Roy.
Shout out.
He's here every week.
And Spin.
I love it. And Spin.
And
Yes.
anybody else who
There's a few others, but we really appreciate it.
If you're a regular on this show, we love you. Thank you. While we're at it, hit the subscribe and the like, share, get it out there. But this has been a ton of fun doing this, and I look forward to, continue many, many more. And it's funny that you said we've done this pretty much every single week for 52 weeks. Next week, we will not have a Friday night show.
It's true.
Because, Casey, why are we not doing a show Friday? What's happening?
Wait, what are you guys going to tell me?
We're going to meet.
We just did.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Papa Ron and Mike are all going to meet for the first time next Saturday.
I did already know about this.
And it was supposed to be next Friday, but Mike has some other thing to do and just cast us away.
Sorry.
So we're not going to have a podcast next Friday, but next Saturday, in place of it, we're going to have the mega podcast that you guys saw in the beginning of the show with the Resurgence Brewing Company and everybody, all your favorite personalities from Buffalo Rumblings. So come out, come meet us for the first time when we all meet for the first time.
Home opener weekend.
Home opener weekend. We're doing this Saturday, and then Sunday we're in Mafia House, 7 a.m. We're gonna be there.
Yeah, I might hold you to that case.
We're gonna. Hey, you know me. We're up early.
Don't get me
buddy.
going, man. Don't get me going.
We'll be there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's And if I don't cry meeting you, Papa Ron, then I don't know what's wrong with you.
1 week from today, well, this time tomorrow or this time next week, I will be in Buffalo with my wife, my girls, their significant others. It's
There
going to be
might
a
be
lot of fun.
gifts.
We're looking forward to it. Come out to the Resurgence Brewing and meet us, meet the crew, meet all the other Buffalo Rumblings personalities. It's going to be a great time. So, yes, Roy says bring gifts. Yeah, that would be cool.
For us or
so
us
what
bring
do I
gifts?
like to have? Let me just send out. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna bring you a bag of
looking
salt
forward to it.
potatoes. That's what I'm gonna bring you.
There we go.
Oh, I've got to take the family to Bar Bill's. None of my kids have ever experienced actual, true, authentic buffalo chicken wings, or even the
The
blue cheese,
Frank it
which
up.
I'm telling you now, it is different. I don't like blue cheese, but you have it in Buffalo, it is different, and it is so good.
So
So
good.
really looking forward to that. We are going to get out of here. Like I said, we'll be in town next week. We're going to be Resurgence Brewing. Come out, meet the crew. So for the Mafia Cast, Buffalo Rumblings, we are out of here. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills. See you in 2 weeks.